It's time for Fort Worth Musical Moments. Join us now as Steve Markwardt takes a look at the music and the artists who made the city's vibrant musical legacy what it is today. Here I am. Now we're here. Fort Worth Musical Moments. Boy, we've been having the technical gremlins already this morning. Let's pray those stay away here because we've got a great hour planned for you guys today. Steve, another good one on the horizon here. Welcome in this morning.
Thank you, Brent. Brent, welcome. It's happy Friday. A lot going on this weekend, and we're going to start the weekend off by bringing in some of our special guests. We got a lot to talk about here, and I think the gentleman on the bottom of your screen to the left, if you follow our music, Western swing and traditional country, and you don't know him, then there's something wrong because he's everywhere. He's a young guy, but he's already had a lifetime of experience, and he's just getting started in the music business, and that's Jack Phillips. How you doing, Jack?
Good. I'm great. How about you?
Doing great. And Jack's mother, Allison, who's kind of the glue that holds everything together, you know, when you're managing a career like Jack's, and he's got a lot of things. He's in high demand. So Allison's the kind of the air traffic controller. So how you doing, Allison?
I'm great. How are y'all?
Doing good. Well, if folks don't know Jack now, they will by the end of the show here because we're going to share some of his music here and get you to know him. And Steve, the cool thing about Jack and some of these other folks here, they are coming together in Turkey, Texas, coming up here in a few weeks to continue to mentor the next generation of Western swing and traditional country music players and help keep these genres vibrant and strong.
You know, it's interesting because we had our show last week was actually partially out of Turkey, Texas. The Mackenzie and Austin and Tracy were gracious enough to let us use their telephone, and we broadcasted from Turkey. They did an on the spot deal, and they were playing out there in front of the Bob Wills tour bus thing. And that was cool. And we talked last week about the phenomenon that is Turkey, Texas, that, you know, 317 population, give or take. And we talked about one weekend a year, how tens of thousands come in there. But it sounds like there's something going on there, and it's becoming an epicenter of culture when it comes to Western swing and traditional country music. And so this music camp seems to be another thing that's happening there. And so we want to learn more about that, and that's what we want to talk about this morning.
Well, why don't we start out by talking about how this is the 12th annual camp. Let's talk about how and why it was started.
Well, I guess the reason it was started was, you know, Bobby Flores, who started the camp, had always had a deep passion for, you know, helping young people out in this business, and you know, there was probably no better teacher than him, and he wanted to, you know, take a week out of his year and teach kids that, you know, maybe couldn't come all the way down to his studio and all that, have them come out for a week and learn from him.
And as this thing has grown, let's talk about who participates. How many folks were there in the beginning and where you're at now?
Well, let's see here. The camp usually, what would you say? We probably have about, for the last couple of years, we've had.
We're up to, like, right now we have 24 signed up for this year so far. And we're open to all ages. We're open from age 10 to 110 if you still want to play. It's not limited to just kids.
Well, that's good to know because you know, I thought it was just for kids. I might have to head out that way, Steve.
Me too. We have all ages.
We could do some wood shedding.
I need my chops are at an all-time low on my guitar playing, I'll tell you. So I need some time at a place like that. You know, so You get a lot of young people coming through there, though. Is it all stages? Like you even like raw beginners?
Well, we usually don't like to take just pure beginners. You know, we want you to at least have a little bit of knowledge under your belt before you just, kind of, although occasionally we will get a beginner or two, but just one or two we can manage that.
Most of them we started at intermediate, advanced, or professional level. We have them up to professional level. We have top instructors in their field. So you can, and Jack always says you can always learn something.
Well,
it doesn't matter how much you know, you can still learn more.
Brent, if they're starting at the lowest rung of the ladder as intermediate, that rules you and I out.
Yeah, we have to we have to practice a little bit to get to that stage, I guess. Oh,
yeah. So let's talk about the instructors. So obviously, Jack, you're one of the main instructors out there, but you got people like Jake Hooker, who, what a music phenomenon he is. What a great guy, great soul, I should say. And talk, who else do you have out there instructing these folks?
Well, like you said, Jake will be teaching bass, and Jess Metter and RJ Smith will be teaching fiddle. And Cameron Baker will be teaching guitar, and then I'll be teaching pedal steel.
Okay. Jess Metter is no slouch for sure. Great fiddle player. What's the name of his little group? I'm trying to remember. The Flyers.
No, that's Ridge Roberts.
Oh, Ridge Roberts. Yeah, I'm sorry. I got that. Yeah.
Jess is in Jake Hooker's band.
I got all these guys mixed up. That's right. He's in Jake Hooker's band. Okay. Well, wow, what a treat for people that are for the participants out there to be under that kind of tutelage. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that.
We try to pull in the top people in their field. We've had Steve Pelusic, Jim Lossberg, Jody Cameron as still instructors, Justin Branham, Del Morse Jr., Hank Singer as fiddle instructors. Rich O'Brien, Joe Settlemyers, Bobby Flores. Bobby floated. Bobby would float and stuff. And Jack has floated in the past to each
she means float classes, like different instruments.
To help, wherever needed to be. But we try to pull in the instructors that are top in their field.
Where does this take place? Where in Turkey do y'all do this?
We usually base it out of the Turkey Hotel.
Okay. Y'all work with Carly on that?
Yes.
Pat,
Tina, and Carly have been wonderful to work with.
We met Carly last week and really taken with her. Turkey is lucky to have somebody like her. It's interesting, you meet somebody like her, you go, what in the world? How did you end up in Turkey, Texas? But it just happened to be fate, and boy, what a force she is.
Oh yeah, she's great. They always take good care of us, help us with the meal plan and everything. I always leave camp about 5 pounds heavier than when I showed up.
They feed us well.
So when you guys come into the camp, is there do you sit down ahead of time and plan out a certain curriculum for the week, or certain objectives that you want to meet there, or how does all that work? What's the structure look like?
Yeah, we start planning like the songs we want to teach and like what we want to show the students. We usually start planning that a few months in advance. Like I've been trying to work on charts for songs all this week.
And when artists come in, young artists, are they very familiar with charts? Is that something that they have to continue to learn and grow on?
Most time they can, like a good bit of the ones we've had can read them, and if they can't, it's not like it's something that's decently easy to teach. Like they can pick it up in probably an hour.
Well, I tell you, for anybody who's unfamiliar, who has not heard Jack play, we're going to share something here. A couple months ago at the Steel Guitar Festival, you sat down and played Danny Boy on the steel here. I've got some video of that. I'm going to share with the people so they can hear you. So in case you're wondering, that's the level of instruction that you'll receive at the band music camp. That's a pretty good calling card.
Well, you just gotta love phone video quality.
Well, I tell you what, as long as we got the picture there, and we sure did, that was beautiful, Jack.
That was almost otherworldly.
That was that could bring a tear to a glass eye, as they say. That was something special, man.
Thank you.
So let's break it down here by instrument. Here we talked a bit about the instructors. Which instruments will be represented here?
Well, for sure, fiddle, guitar, bass, both electric and upright, and pedal steel guitar.
And we've heard we've heard a little bit of a beat keeping here, a snare drum at least. Anybody that deals in percussion there?
Yeah, we actually we don't have a class for it per se, but we've talked Jake Hooker's youngest son Marshall into playing drums for us for the week.
Good.
Which he's a phenomenal drummer for his age. He's a phenomenal drummer for any age, but to be 13 years old and doing it better than guys that have been playing for 60 years, it's really something special.
That's awesome. And of course,
which the genetics couldn't hurt either. But.
Yeah, absolutely. Of course, Steve mentioned having the McKetty family on here last week. Mackenzie and Austin McKetty have been through that camp and are have helped hone their chops along the way.
Yeah, I think they're coming back again this year. Actually,
they'll be back. Signed up.
Well, another video clip that I have here that I wanted to share to kind of give people an idea of what happens. You kind of woodshed over a few days, and then toward the end of it, you just kind of have a jam session. And I've got a little bit of last year's jam here I wanted to share with some folks too. Wow, boy, what a fun time there just to sit around and jam. What a bunch of talent. You have to think the great Bob Wills himself would be just tickled to see that next generation sitting in there and just having fun jamming.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. And that last one was a Cajun number, wasn't it?
I think so. That was Ella Broussard. She comes from into Hallettsville, and down there there's a lot of that kind of polka and Cajun and stuff like that.
Yeah, which is a major element of Western swing.
Absolutely. Of course, the McKetties in there as well. It's just so cool. Of all the different ways you could spend your summer, man, what an awesome thing. If you could talk a bit about the structure of each day of the camp, is it pretty much regimented, or is it a little more free flowing? How does that work?
It's pretty free flowing. Like, we'll spend some time working on some tunes, and then we'll kind of look and see then we'll work some on like improvisation and music theory and stuff like that. And then of course, if the students want a little bit of one-on-one time with the instructors, we also do private lessons in the evenings.
Is that covered in the cost of the camp?
I think it's just $50 extra.
The private lessons are separate. They're
okay.
It's $50 for each private lesson, and you can sign up for up to 3.
Okay.
It's your choice if you want to take them. Because classes start in the morning, like at 9 a.m. and go till noon. You're in your class with your instructors and your other classmates. Break for lunch. Go back in the afternoon, have more classes.
I think it's 1 to 4, isn't it?
1 to 4 or 1:30 to 4:30, somewhere around there. Then they have a little bit of downtime, as I call it. It's a little bit, but a lot of times they just sit around and jam during that time. And that's what that video was. Some of them just get together and jam, and then we have dinner. And then at night, from 7 to 10, that's when the instructors do their private lessons. So we can do up to 3 a night if the kids choose to do that, or the students. But the ones that are not in private lessons, they are normally sitting around a campfire jamming for about an hour to an hour and a half, going over what they learned that day, and even throwing in new songs that they do. So we probably will hear Mackenzie's new song during that jam time.
Now, does that all culminate at the end of the camp with any kind of performance or anything?
Yes, we do have a recital that we do on Thursday afternoon.
2:30.
And Jack, have you been involved with the camp the whole time as a student?
I was involved with it 10 years as a student.
Nice.
Well, yeah, yes and no. He started camp when he was 9.
Wow.
So, and he will be 19 this year. So, yeah, this will be about his 10th year, but he's been kind of hosting it ever since Bobby passed away. Mm-hmm. And actually, the year before Bobby passed away, he came down with COVID the day of camp and he called in, and we said, "Don't come here." Jack said, "I'll handle it." So, right. And you were there so much.
And you were kind of telling us offline. Of course, we lost the great Bobby Flores to cancer, and you were telling us offline that one of the promises that you made to him is that you would continue to move this thing along.
Yeah, that was my promise to him, that I would kind of keep this thing going, because I know he wouldn't want to see it go away, because I know how much he loved helping young people with music.
And that's so important. And anything you do in life, I mean, the farthest you go is when you go with other people here and you make connections. And I would imagine that's the same here. If you could talk a bit about the connections that are made through this camp and where that leads you after this camp in terms of meeting people that can get you into the right spot to become successful, to join groups, to write with, to, just continue to collaborate with.
In past years, when I was still a student, like you said, like making connections Bobby would always, he wouldn't require it, but he would almost require me to take a private lesson with him so he could, brush me up on stuff like, because I ended up working for him for the last couple of years. And it would always be something related to something that was in his set list.
Uh-huh.
And, it's, like when you have instructors like Jake and Cameron and Jess and all that, if they see progress in just the week that you're there, I mean, they're liable to go back and tell somebody about you, say, hey, so-and-so did great, call them for a gig, or, something like that.
All right. That's huge. Steve, you need to be paying attention to those kids.
I know it. I know. There's a lot of talent there that's coming up and coming. But speaking of talent, Jack, when did you first realize that you wanted to? How old were you? Like 4 when you first picked up a musical instrument, or what? Were you? When did you realize that's what you wanted to do?
Well, I've always been around this kind of music. My first time hearing it, I was 6 months old on New Year's Eve in the Stampede in Big Spring, Texas, listening to Jody Nix. And every year I'd go out to Turkey for Bob Wills days and all that, and I would always be around fiddles and stuff like that, and I always thought it was cool. And then one year when I was 7 years old for Christmas, I asked for a fiddle, and then it all went downhill from there.
And so, did you have formal training, or did you kind of pick it up? And I mean, what was your methodology there?
The first, I'd probably say a year and a half, I did have a classical instructor, just so I could get the technique and stuff. But she and I didn't see eye to eye on music because, I wanted to play Faded Love and Maiden's Prayer, and she wanted me to play, I don't know what it was.
Well,
she wanted him to play classical, and he said, no, I want to play fiddle, not violin.
Right. And you just wanted to make music and music that you love. I understand that. When I first picked up the guitar, my wife, approaching one of my birthdays back in 2017, she said, as much time as you spend on your computer and iPad messing around with puzzles and games and stuff like that, she goes, why don't you do something productive? That's my wife, right? She, when I asked God for humility, he brought her into my life. But, she said, why don't you why don't you learn to play a musical instrument? I said, well, okay. I said, I always want to learn how to play the guitar. So she went and got me a guitar for my birthday. I picked out a $250 Fender acoustic. And I was pretty excited, until I sat down and started playing. I'm like, I have no idea what I'm doing, and sounded like a train wreck. And so I found somebody I knew that knew somebody else, and they, were a teacher. So I had them come in my home and do lessons, and it was like pulling teeth. I mean, it was doing scales, and I'm like, oh my God, And I said, now I remember, because when I was like 8 or 9, I tried to learn how to play the guitar, and I just didn't stick with it. And I said, now I'm remembering why. I said, I just want to make music. And I called a friend of mine up, and I knew played guitar. And I said, got any words of wisdom for me? He goes, dude, just learn the open chords. Look up the fingerings of, G, C, D, E, A, and then eventually you get into those bar chords. He said, but all the songs you love are in those basic chords. So I spent about a week just learning the fingering of those chords, and then started looking up. I remember I Googled songs in the key of A, songs in the key, and all these songs. I'm like, yeah, I like that song, that, and all before you knew it, because of now you got on the internet these chord charts that you can just pull up, interactive or whatever, and next thing you know, I'm actually playing an entire song. It wasn't pretty, but I was making music, and that's what I needed. I needed to know that it was going somewhere. So. And then I started writing a lot of music, and unfortunately, I haven't spent near as much time as I need to on my guitar chops. But it is what it is. It's taken me to where I am today with being in the music business and everything else. And I just love being around it and love taking the stage with guys like you, Jack. I mean, we have a lot of fun when we perform. I was watching the video from the February 3rd concert we all did at National Hall, and there's one. I can't remember which song it is. I think it's Talking in Your Sleep. Hey. You and Kurt go back and forth.
You guys want to hear that? I've got it.
Do you? Okay, cool.
Got it. Great segue, man. We're on the same wavelength today.
Y'all are having a dialogue Wynton Marsalis says, in Western swing, he says in jazz, but this translates to Western swing. He says, this is where, two musicians can have a dialogue. They're saying something to each other. They're talking back and forth, and they, you never play the same song, you never play a song the same way twice, and it's all about improvisation. It's about risk. And of course you and Kurt were just in the zone. So if you got that, that's awesome. I didn't realize you had that video.
Surprise. Here we go. Here's Talking in Your Sleep from National Hall, February 3rd, 2024.
You've been talking in your sleep.
Here we go, guys. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2.
Saying things that tear the heart right out of me. I heard you say you yearn for him each and every night. I'm getting used to being left, and baby, that ain't right. The things you whisper knocked me to my knees. You promised you would meet him on the dark end of the street. You're telling me lies and making me cry. Yeah, baby, you've been talking in your sleep. Dale Morris Jr., folks, give him a hand. Kurt Ryle. Jack Phillips from the Steelers.
It's almost like that cameraman knew something special was happening there.
Well, Jack had a laboratory over there working. He was,
Yeah.
There was only one thing missing from the ending of that song.
what's that?
You can't listen to that song without thinking about that.
Talk about a good face for radio. Jeez.
Oh, that was tremendous. And next time Steve Markwardt tells you to get to National Hall for one of his shows, make sure you do it. That's why you don't want to miss. You don't want to miss moments like that.
Well, I always have fun watching you guys, Jack, you and everybody else having fun. You know, if y'all aren't having fun, then it ain't working. You know, so and we always have fun when we perform together. It's great.
That's excellent. So again, let's run through the housekeeping here before we move off this discussion, so everybody knows what the dates are, what the cost is, how you sign up, all that good stuff. So if any of this intrigues anybody, we can get them on board.
Yeah, let's ask first of all, did we already determine, is it too late to sign up for this thing?
No. You can sign up. I'm taking phone calls and text and emails every day. Just let me know. We have some great sponsors this year, but some of our sponsors have deadlines for their scholarship applications. You apply to these different organizations and they have deadlines on their scholarship applications. But that will come to you if you apply to camp. All that information comes to you in the camp packet and let you know which organizations and what their not what their criteria is, because you have to log on to each one, but it'll give you the information to contact them and you can look and see what their criteria is, maybe to get a scholarship to come to camp. And so far, the majority of all of our students have been blessed with scholarships and sponsorships and stuff this year. So reach out, let me know, let me hear from you.
And as our friend Billy Bowles likes to say, get your pencils ready here. Make sure you call Allison. You can get a hold of her at 903-348-7321 or bammusiccamp@gmail.com. Again, bammusiccamp@gmail.com. How much does this thing cost? $1 million? I mean, you're getting $1 million worth of benefit here.
Your tuition runs $725.
That's a bargain.
That covers all your classes, your meals, your the recital fees, your paperwork. We have, we try to do charts up. We do notebooks up for all the kids, so they will, or not kids, students, so they will have the charts and everything to take home with them. Sometimes they bring us a song that they want to learn, that they've been interested in, and Jack or Cameron or one of the instructors will sit down and chart it out for them. And they'll get to, and we go over it with them and they get to take that home with them.
Again, networking alone in this deal is worth that amount of money. So make sure you reach out to Allison and get plugged into this. I mean, it's next month. It's coming quick here.
It is coming quick. We are. I've been rushing around like a chicken with my head cut off here the past week or so on it. I've been hearing from my organizations on who's being awarded scholarships and stuff. So I normally get a message every day. Hey, we've awarded one to so-and-so or John Smith or Jane Doe or so.
And how are those scholarships funded?
Well, we have private sponsors. And then we have organizations. Western Swing Music Society has been, they want to help promote and keep camp going or keep this Western Swing music alive. And they have been an integral part of always helping young kids learn. And you have to fill out an application for them. And they look it over and they let you know they let me know if that student has been awarded a scholarship. And they come out like gangbusters. But we've also had different festivals. Cowtown Birthplace of Western Swing has been a sponsor this year. Clarksville Creative Sound has been a sponsor this year. They all have stepped up and sent sponsorships and stuff. And we look over all of our students, and if there's some that's needing a little more help, we fund that money toward their tuition and stuff to help offset their cost.
That's beautiful.
Well, we would like to possibly step up as Clarksville Creative Sound, and I'm speaking on behalf of American Country Network as well. That, perhaps we can do some things to enhance the scholarship deal, because that's so important, and we're all about keeping this music alive and getting it in the hands of these young folks. And I got selfish reasons too. I've always got my eye on new talent out there. So,
you know, and you ought to come out and hang out with us. You ought to come. You're welcome to come join us at camp. We would love to have you. You know, you can
just
brush up on
that. Just don't let me pick up a guitar. But no, I just may do that.
Well, you know, I'm thinking on my feet here, but maybe one of our Friday shows could come from there.
Well, and you know, we're doing this TV show that we're working on the pilot right now called Small Town Sound, and we might even bring a film crew out there. You never know.
Well, our camp is Sunday afternoon through Thursday afternoon.
All
so
right.
Friday's kind of, because we have all these instructors.
They've got gigs, don't they?
They have gigs on the weekends.
But we all, you know, speaking of instructors, we all got together and decided that this year on Sunday, when we all show up there, instead of having, we still might jam a little bit, but the instructors have all gotten together and decided we're going to do a little instructors concert.
Nice.
A little impromptu concert for everybody.
All right.
That's
well,
awesome.
We need to bring Linda in. I think she's waiting in the wings. Is she not? There she is.
She is. Look alive, Linda. Here you are.
But so
I have a special guest that's joined me. He's not awake.
look at that.
My lap.
Is that a dog or a horse? I can't tell.
It's a hybrid, I think. It's a 55-pound Catahoula, and he's wormed his way in here, and I'm having trouble moving him, so I'm gonna let him stay.
Well, Steve, you want to introduce our guest here?
Yeah, this is Linda Bull, Linda Freund Bull. I guess I don't know how do you like to be called? What do you
Linda
use?
Bull. Linda Bull.
I know you as Linda Freund back in high school. We all went to high school together. I've known Linda a long time, and her family and our family. And you know, you were more in my brother's class, Mike a couple of years ahead of me. And we've gotten reacquainted through music, and I found out that I don't know how we reached out. Somehow we got reconnected, and you informed me that you were a musician and a songwriter, and you've kind of settled into the songwriting thing, and you're a good songwriter, and you've been a major contributor to Kurt Ryle's songwriting workshop time and time again. And then you've submitted, I guess, some songs to Kurt for consideration of one of our artists recording them, and lo and behold, here we are. Mackenzie's releasing one of your songs tomorrow on Billy Bull Swingin' Country, so we're excited about that.
That's right. Yeah, I'm excited about it too. I think it's great. Can't wait.
Somehow you've gone sideways on us here.
Yeah, so I haven't moved because I have this beast on me, but let me see if I can get him off of me.
I was wondering what I was looking at there.
This is Bogey, and he's he doesn't know how to do anything, but he wants to help. We're gonna
get him to run the camera here.
Yeah, I didn't touch it, but I saw it flip, so I don't really know what the answer there is.
Uh-oh.
Weird. That's a new one. We haven't had that one.
Yeah.
Hang around long enough with us, you'll see it all. We see it all. There, it's slowly going that way. There we go.
I feel like I'm on the Poseidon adventure.
So now I got the phone vertically. Let me see if I can prop it up without it falling down. And I don't know if I can do that. Just have to hold it.
As she's doing that, I'll also tell you, make sure if you're not plugged in, make sure you go follow Jasmine Sean, Sean McDonald, on Facebook. She's got a song that she put out there on SoundCloud just a few weeks ago called Dog on a Chain that Linda has written, and that's a great song too. It's not out to radio yet, but it sure ought to be if it's not. It's another great song penned by Linda, and you know, anybody who's familiar with the show knows Jasmine and knows her chops, and she did a great job with that song.
Yeah, we had Jasmine in the studio last week, I believe. She and her family came in, and we hadn't seen her in a while. She's been busy since she graduated from high school. I think was working 2 jobs and kind of getting into a different phase of her life, and kind of got busy doing that. But she made an appearance in Clarksville, and Kurt got to visit with her for a couple of days. I think she did some harmony tracks because she's a master at that. And so we're happy that Jasmine's still out there, and she's one of the artists that's been with the label the longest. But Linda, let's talk a little bit about you. So we know you grew up in Fort Worth. You live in Fort Worth. If you lived in Fort Worth your whole life?
So my dad was an Air Force fighter pilot, and so we bounced around my younger years, and I came to Fort Worth in the early 70s and went to Leonard Middle School, where I met Mike, of course, you know, and your brother Mike, and became good friends with him and the little circle that we ran with, and whatever siblings they had, all that group. And so stayed in Fort Worth, really. Been here ever since. I'm in East Fort Worth now, but.
So what you're saying is you have all the good stories.
I've got some good stories.
Oh, I love it.
I got to be careful with them, because some people might have some good stories on me that I'm.
Yeah, well, you and I have shared some potential blackmail material back and forth, so we've got collateral on each other.
Right, we do. So yeah, but anyway, you know, a lot of things. You know, it's been a lot of years, but it's been one of the coolest things about us at Western Hills is, you know, a lot of our people, we were really tight, and we stayed close through the years, and you know, so Mike getting involved in the Western swing things, and you know, Steve coming along on his end of the music thing, and I still can't remember how we connected a while back, but back in 2007 I married a musician, Alan Bull, and he's a fantastic guitar player, particularly steel guitar, and he and I studio and recorded the 3 songs, Don't Get Me Wrong, that Mackenzie's going to release, and the 2, Dog on a Chain and Dream World, that Jasmine has recorded, and looking forward to having those released in the near future, hopefully. But somehow after that time, I was talking with Steve, and was thinking, man, Steve, you'd be a really good vocal on this Don't Get Me Wrong. Well, that never transpired, and as Steve mentioned several times, you know, God had a different plan, and got Mackenzie on that song, and boy, she knocked it out of the park, and I'm just thrilled for its release tomorrow, and really looking forward to that. So that's kind of a little bit of my abbreviated background.
Where did songwriting begin for you?
That probably way back before we moved to Texas. We lived in Alaska, and we didn't have any television, and my mother bought a lot of books, and they were all Dr. Seuss. So the rhyming, the rhyming came in, and I shared a bedroom with my 2 sisters, and we were supposed to be quiet at night, you know, but we had this little thing we'd call 100-line poems, you know, called them poems back then, with poems. But one of us would write a line.
Wow.
Pass the paper to the other person, trying to be quiet so we wouldn't be in trouble. Anyway, one of us wrote this line one time called "Don't Cuss." Next one goes, "Call Gus." And my older sister, I think your brother Mike had a crush on her for years. She added, "Gus will cuss for all of us." Out loud. We're supposed to be asleep, and we all got in trouble. But that just kind of reminds me of how we do this Kurt Riles Songwriters Workshop. You know, everybody kind of submits a line here and there, and get voted on or chosen by the admin, and so that started my writing. I wrote the first song in 1977, had never done anything with it, but still have it in the wings. It's a little country song. And then when I got to know my husband, Alan Bull, is when we got some serious, got in the studio and got serious about a few things. And Alan had a Bill Mack, Midnight Cowboy, was a client of Alan's landscape business.
Wow.
Got that in front of Bill, and he called me one day. He really liked it, and he was very encouraging for the few years that I knew him before he died. So,
when we talk about making connections, that's a good one to have.
Yeah, great one. He was so supportive, and funny story about that. He called me one time, and Linda, this is Bill Mack, his radio voice, and I got that message, and I was like, wow, Bill Mack called. So I called him back, chatted with him, and he really loved Dog on the Chain. That was one of the tunes he really, really liked. That was his favorite. But so I hung up the phone. A couple hours later, I'm talking with a girlfriend, and I butt dialed Bill Mack. I was terrified and horrified about it, because he called back a little later. You called me? No, I didn't. Yes, you did. So I looked back. Anyway, that was one of those heartbeat. Oh no, I've ruined my relationship with Bill Mack by butt dialing him, but it was all good.
It happens to the best of them. Linda, you think about when we grew up and where we grew up. It couldn't have been any better. I mean, living in Fort Worth, Texas, growing up in the 70s when things were a lot, and of course, here I am sounding like one of these old folks, which I am. Things were so much simpler then. But what a time for music at that time. That was when Willie, had just come back into Austin and kind of thumbed his nose at Nashville, started this whole Americana Texas music thing. They say Americana Texas music kind of was born the day Willie walked into Armadillo World headquarters and got on stage and started playing, and the rednecks and the hippies started getting along, and so and I remember the soundtrack to our high school. Well, standard issue on albums was Jerry Jeff Walker's Viva Talingua, Redheaded Stranger, Willie Nelson. But we also had Bob Wills For the Last Time, and we listened to that a lot. And so we grew up around all that great music, and it was a great time for music. Even when the disco thing came about, that was fun too. And you just got a little worn out, and you appreciate it now more than ever. How great a songwriter the Gibb brothers were. But anyway, what a great time to grow up, and so you have a lot of that in you already. I mean, that was all we listened to, all of our dances. How Texas is this? Our first dance of the year was the Howdy Dance.
Yeah, Howdy Dance, right?
And unfortunately, or fortunately, however you want to look at it, most of us wore boots, not because they look good, because you could stick a half pint of flask of whiskey in there, smuggle it in the dance,
Well, the drinking age was a little lower back then, so there were some folks who were drinking age, although yeah, that's what
having some technical.
Else in that Face Stages album, the songwriting on that is just incredible, and it is just one that I wore out. And so, yeah, Jerry Jeff Walker, as far as influences on me, Chris Christopherson, and back in those days, Carole King, Tapestry. There were so many writers out, and on the radio. Just the writing was incredible. It's still a lot of good writing out there. But I think our era, the 70s, with the Texas music scene, for sure, that really got me involved. And we had a lot of friends that had little bands and things like that. So
you had guys like Guy Clark in the background writing this tremendous, like Desperados Waiting for a Train and stuff like that Jerry Jeff recorded. And that just, stuff like that. You could just sit there and kick back and listen to that song all night, and then you could go see those guys. I remember a concert at Tarrant County Convention Center featured Jerry Jeff Walker, Willie Nelson, Waylon Jennings, and Emmylou Harris all in one concert.
Yeah, incredible.
And I wish I could say I remembered a lot of it, but I don't remember a whole lot of it because we went to a beer bust before that. You remember those beer busts where they had like 40 keg beer busts, and we were pretty primed by the time we got to the concert. I don't remember a whole lot about it. I just remember being there, and it was really cool. But
Lake, I think Betty's Hole, the beer bust. Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
So any Fort Worth people that are watching this will know that, and that's cool. And, like you said, a lot of camaraderie, a lot of our classmates have stuck together and we stay in touch with each other. And I'm sure people that went to Heights and Pascal and all those other schools in Fort Worth will say the same thing. I guess hopefully you still have that today where people stay in touch. But, these days, this day and time, as opposed to growing up in neighborhoods when you and I were growing up, you knew all your neighbors, you hung out with them, you grew up with them. Now you can live in a place for 10, 20 years and not know your neighbors.
Yeah, it's a different world. Of course, now we have this connectivity, through the internet and social media and what we're doing right now. So it kind of brings in a different level of connectivity. But yeah, I'm barring the the issues of OLD syndrome that have tagged along. I'm very grateful to have come up in the 70s with that music era, and I'm still here, still on the right side of the dirt, and still enjoying more than ever participating in the music business and writing. Writing's my passion. I love it. Songs come to me with I think I've talked to Steve about this before. The lyrics and melody sometimes come at the same time. Be driving down the road or just working out in the garden or whatever. And here will come a song and I'll grab my recorder. You got one on your phone now. Don't even have to run and grab a pen and paper and get down what I can of that song and the melody so that I can flesh it out later and get it into a full song. So.
It goes as fast as it comes, so you better get it down somewhere.
Yeah. Isn't that the truth? I've made the mistake of telling myself I was going to remember a few things before, and that didn't work out.
Well, we're thrilled that we're able to work with you on some of these songs and to collaborate with you, and we want to continue to do that for sure. And
I'm honored.
I'm grateful that our relationship has lasted as long as it has. We're all still here and relatively, in healthy and good shape, and anyway, it's a great thing. When I growing up in my neighborhood, most of the kids were either Air Force kids like yourself, military, or General Dynamics, Lockheed. This is now Lockheed. And so, a lot of these Air Force military kids were coming and going a lot. So y'all moved around a lot, I know.
Yeah. And, that was the other side of my early influences is Air Force fighter pilots. They've got a whole songbook. And they play those songs at parties. And my parents hosted a whole lot of those parties. And, my dad had a lot of friends that played guitar, and he wanted a guitar. My mother bought him one at Sears and back in the 60s. And he hurt her feelings real bad because he took it back and went to the pawn shop, found himself an old Martin, paid $100 for it. It's hanging on my wall right here.
Wow.
Thing is just as sweet and beautiful. Get it down right now because it's out of tune, but and I'm kind of like you, Steve. My chops on guitar are a little rusty right now, and I need to get back in the swing of picking that thing up every day so that I can get back at least something presentable. But
those old guitars are great. I've got an old Gibson 1967 Gibson J50 that I came across, and I bought that and a Gretsch Super Jet hollow body, and then a deluxe reverb amp, all for $2,500, which was a heck of a deal. That Gibson alone's worth I don't know how much, but it's like an old skillet. It's been seasoned, yes. and it's got a lot of juju in it. Who knows whose hands have played that guitar through the years? And you always, that's always fun to think about.
Exactly.
Well, you keep writing, Linda, and we'll keep recording.
We'll do that. Thank you so much for having me on. Thank you for connecting with me on the Clarksville Creative Sound Ventures. We look forward to Mackenzie's release tomorrow, and I hope everybody tunes in to the Billy Bull Swinging Country to listen to that. So,
Absolutely. Tomorrow, 10 a.m. Central. Make sure you're on KSSLFM.com. If you're not in the South Plains area, in the Lubbock, Texas area, make sure you get on KSSLFM.com for Billy Bull's Swinging Country. And they're going to be premiering the new song written by Linda Bull and sung by one Mackenzie McKetty, a contestant for this year's Miss Oklahoma pageant. So you're going to want to check that out. If you miss it, we'll have it on Rural Strong Radio at 1 p.m. Eastern, noon Central Time on Sunday. You can catch it there. You can also catch it at 7 p.m. Central next Tuesday. So 3 great chances to hear Billy Bull's Swinging Country and hear the new song from Mackenzie McKetty.
And for Jack, what's next for you, Jack, as far as gigs? I know you got a lot of stuff on your books, probably.
I think my next gig is in Fort Worth at the Longhorn
Next weekend.
next weekend. With
Next
Brady
Longhorn
Hunter.
Saloon. What night?
Saturday night.
Saturday night. And who are you playing with?
Brady Honeycutt.
Brady Honeycutt. Okay. Well, that's great. That's great. Well, we'll be doing some shows this summer. We're working on some things, so I'll probably be reaching out to you, and we'll work our schedule around yours, because I definitely want you on the stage with us.
All right. I look forward to it.
So good luck with the camp. And Allison, thank you for all you do. I know that you make it largely possible for Jack to do what he does and do it with focus, so he doesn't have to worry about all the business side of things. You're a force to be reckoned with, I can tell you. And so we're fortunate to have you and all you do for Jack and all you do for the music business.
Well, thank you for having us this morning. And really and truly, we look forward to y'all coming to camp if y'all want to come.
Well, we just may make an appearance out there. That would be fun. We might get Kurt to come. Maybe he can help on the guitar instructional side of things. You never know.
Again, one more time, BAM's 12th Summer Music Camp is going to be held June 16th through the 20th in Turkey, Texas. You can contact Allison Phillips, 903-348-7321, or bammusiccamp@gmail.com. Before we get out of here, we want to make sure we acknowledge a few people. We've been so busy today, we haven't had a chance to do that. I see Mary Minter has been on here. Marlene Connors has been on here. Had a lot of nice comments on here. Terry Lemaster of the Clarksville Creative Sound fame, and also Fred Aldridge checking in from Pennsylvania. Thank you to everybody who's checked in today. I see my mom on there. Glad she came on here. Glad to see her on here. I always know I have at least one.
President of your fan club, isn't she?
Yep, president and sole member, I believe, of the fan club here. So glad I at least have her representation. I know I'm not alone.
And I'll join. Okay.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
As long as there's no fee involved.
Nope. As a matter of fact, I may pay you. So
Moms are important.
they are 100% important.
Oh, moms are everything.
That's my
I admit I'm a mama's boy.
My cheering section. So thank you to everybody who showed up today. We appreciate it. We're going to try to get this streaming thing. As we get feedback, so we can get it back to the Fort Worth Musical Moments pages and the Clarksville pages. We shared it to all those pages this morning. I don't know if everybody's seen it or not, but we're going to try to work that out this week and get everything back to normal. They changed some stuff on us here and kind of messed things up when they did, but we'll get all that squared away, and we'll be back again next Friday. Well, I take that back. I have a commitment next Friday. My daughter, to give an update on her, has another follow-up surgery next Thursday. So I'm going to be out of pocket on Friday. We'll be back again 2 weeks here, God willing, here on Friday, and have another great guest here as we kind of work our way into the summer, Steve.
That's right. Well, our thoughts and prayers are always with you guys and your daughter. She's been through the ringer, I know, but she's a brave little girl, and I know it's difficult for y'all, but our thoughts are with you, and we're hoping for a speedy recovery so she can go about the business of being a little girl.
Absolutely. Well, we're moving in the right direction. She's getting 1 or 2 drain tubes moved out and 1 replaced, and hopefully we're moving closer to recovery here. So this is a big step forward next week with that surgery, which wasn't supposed to be until the end of May, but they called us this week and moved it up. So thankfully we can kind of get this taken care of ahead of time and get her on the mend so we can all kind of enjoy summertime here.
Good deal. Good deal. Well, I'm heading out today to Mineral Wells, Texas. We're going to be out there taking in a little bit of the Cowtown Society of Western music. I can't remember the exact. Anyway, it's the Mineral Wells thing. Everybody calls it Mineral Wells, so I'll stick with it. And I'm going to be hanging out with Dina Wood and her husband Jim and Carl Vaughn, who Carl's helping me kind of put a band together, kind of a cohesive unit, so we don't have to reassemble the band every time we do a gig. And of course, we'll want Jack, like I said, whenever we do things, if you're available, you can always join us. We'd love to have you. I couldn't dream of doing shows without you, but we're working on some things. I'm excited about that. Carl's an old pro, been around a long time. So we're looking forward to that. And on the Clarksville Creative Sound front, a lot of cool things going on. Kurt's been in the studio. Kurt's been in a bachelor. His wife's been in Korea for a couple of weeks now, and she's there for another couple of weeks, I think. And so he's so far stayed out of trouble. But he's had a new artist in, Alana Essex, who is not on the label, but she's a very interesting, kind of a folky singer, and she's they're putting out some cool stuff. They shared some tracks with me that hopefully we can get out there soon. She's an excellent songwriter, a little different than anything we've ever done. And then, of course, on the American Country Network front, Tommy Snyder and I have been in close contact, and he's taken it upon himself to take charge of the final editing for our pilot for our TV show, Small Town Sound, and it is looking great. I can't wait to get that out there. And we want to wait until all the distribution platforms are connected and open to where this thing will go out to as many people as possible. But I know we just got the Android mobile app done, and so it's available. You can pick up American Country Network now on your mobile app if you've got an Android based phone, and then the Apple iOS is going to follow probably in a week or so. We've got OTA providers over the air. In other words, the digital antenna folks. We've got the largest network of those guys on board, and they're going to be broadcasting our show to, millions and millions of potential viewers there. So we're excited about everything, and they're working on all this original content right now. And so we had the soft launch of the network, but the hard launch was soon to come. And you'll see right now, if you go on there, you'll see mainly a lot of music videos and things like that. So, but eventually, all the programming will be in place, including our Small Town Sound show, which we're so excited about. So lots going on.
And you can check it out right now at acncountry.com. They're running 24 hours a day. So get on there and go check out that content. Make sure you share it around and tell everybody about it, because that's how we kind of spread this thing. And again, we'll be back 2 weeks from today for Fort Worth Musical Moments, 10 a.m. Friday. And we hope you'll tell a friend about that too, and share it around, and let's continue to grow this thing. And Jack and Allison, thank you so much for joining us. And Linda, thank you for joining us. We appreciate it.
Y'all have a great weekend.
And to everybody else, we'll see you 2 weeks from today for another Fort Worth Musical Moments.
So long.
You've been watching Fort Worth Musical Moments, a production of Rural Strong Media and Clarksville Creative Sound, copyright 2023. Please join the Fort Worth Musical Moments Facebook group and join us each Friday at 10 a.m. Central as we introduce you to another key figure in Fort Worth's musical heritage.